It's 10 before the hour on this Sunday morning. Thanks a lot for joining us for this edition of Storm Watch. We'll be watching for the possibility of severe thunderstorms later today in Texas, the southern high plains. There's rain and snow on the map this morning, all the way from the crest of the Rockies into Mexico and Colorado to the west coast, where there's another surge of Pacific moisture moving into northern California and the Pacific Northwest right in here. It's actually preceding the main part of the storm, which arrives on Monday, and early in the week looks like more heavy rains for California, including the southern half of the state. We'll be following those developments for you. A lot of moisture, nation's midsection. However, a lot of this is high cloud cover and not producing any precipitation, so the bark is worse than the bite, so to speak. In the southeast, a lot of dry air, high pressure on the weather map, and a gorgeous late November day in the outlook from the mid-Atlantic to Florida, from Texas to the lower Great Lakes. And anywhere in this region of the country, it is possible that you could see a record high temperature today. In fact, at midnight and shortly after midnight, there have already been record high temperatures set in places like Minneapolis and Rochester, Minnesota, and Denver, Colorado. So the sun's not even up yet, and temperatures already at record-setting levels. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Now, we do have a weak front on the map crossing the northeast and upper lakes. There's some cloud cover with it, and there has been a little bit of very, very light precipitation from the Adirondacks to the upper Great Lakes region, but barely noticeable at this point. In the southeast, crystal clear skies, only a few fog patches, and once again, an outstanding late November day, particularly if you have a golf game, just want to get out and ride the bicycle, maybe plant some flower bulbs today. Excellent day for that. And with the many travelers today, outstanding conditions and no weather delays expected from Miami to Atlanta, and Atlanta to the lower Great Lakes, and certainly from the southeast to the northeast and vice versa. So no major storms anywhere east of the Rockies on this Sunday, one of the busiest travel days of the year. Last day of the Thanksgiving holiday. 71 this morning in Brownsville. Look at Dallas, Fort Worth. It's 70 degrees right now. That's not the projected high. That's the current reading. 54 in Jackson, Mississippi. It's cooler in Atlanta and Birmingham in the 40s under clear skies. Kind of a warm morning in Miami, but rather chilly at Charleston, South Carolina, and Raleigh, Durham. Record high temperatures yesterday. Look at Memphis, Tennessee, 77. Nashville, you tied your record. Up in Missouri, it was 72 in St. Joseph and 71 in Kansas City. How about these? Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 65. The typical high is in the low 40s. Rockford, you set a record. Even cold Marquette, Michigan, 49 degrees yesterday, a record-setting reading for the date. 39 Marquette this morning, could be another record setter. 57 Chicago. Check on Kansas City at 64, and Minneapolis is 53 degrees. At midnight it was 56, I believe, and that is already a record high temperature for the date. Patches of fog, Wisconsin and Minnesota. Otherwise, a pretty good southerly breeze will keep it very warm for this time of the year from the Great Lakes through the Mississippi and Ohio Valley region. A lot of high clouds here, very little precipitation, if any, through the center of the country, as it is mainly high-level moisture. But as we head west through New Mexico, Colorado, into Utah, we have thicker, more of a moisture-laden atmosphere, if you will, especially in New Mexico and southern Colorado, with valley rain and mountain snow. And here comes that next surge of moisture eastward off the Pacific Ocean into northern California. So steady rains now, San Francisco, San Jose, San Joaquin, northern San Joaquin, Sacramento Valley. And here's the rain and mountain snow tapering off through Arizona after as much as a half an inch of rain in some locations overnight. In New Mexico here, Albuquerque has rain. Truth or consequences, it's raining, snowing at times up in the higher mountains, as well as up towards Santa Fe and Taos. Rain and snow ending in Arizona, and still a few showers in Southern California, wetter in Northern California.
Looks like there's a very large high-pressure system coming down from the northeast.
There's going to be some big changes for us folks.
And not to mention that's going to accelerate the fall color shift.
Oh, it's going to be beautiful. I love.
This is a message for Leanne Daly, card member since '92.
On storm watch, we're seeing active weather into the west and southwest, rainfall and windy conditions into the plains. And that'll be the story this afternoon in Texas as showers move in from portions of New Mexico and into the west coast. We're seeing rain in northern California, snow in the Sierras, and another system that'll come on shore and bring more rainfall into the west. Into the northeast, pretty quiet, a little cool north of our frontal boundary. Along a warm front, we're seeing foggy conditions into Minnesota, Wisconsin, and also into northern Michigan. Into the northeast, cloudy to partly cloudy skies with fairly nice weather, except for a little cool down east in Maine. The mid-Atlantic, clear skies thanks to a strong ridge of high pressure pumping that warm air into the south. You can see the clear skies over Georgia, North and South Carolina, much of Tennessee, Alabama, Florida, and also into Mississippi and into Louisiana. But the clouds towards the west with that frontal boundary area of low pressure will spread more rainfall into the southeast as the week rolls along. But high pressure and firm control today, so nice here. We had foggy conditions earlier in the day around the lower Mississippi River Valley, but that's not a problem anymore. Into the Midwest, cloudy skies to partly cloudy skies and warm temperatures again. We'll most likely see some more record highs today in the heartland as we saw yesterday. And we're seeing mostly cloudy to partly cloudy skies and high-level clouds over the region and clear skies further towards the south and the east. It's still the west is the area to watch. We're seeing moderate to heavy rainfall in sections of northern California and snow in the Sierras and winter storm watch into the Sierra Mountains into eastern California. We also could see some heavy snow into the San Juan Mountains into southwestern Colorado, light to moderate rain into Oregon and Washington, then snow in the Cascades, upwards of 3 to 6 inches of snow. Here's where our frontal boundary is coming on shore, and we're seeing much of that rainfall diverging and going south into northern California. Moderate showers along Interstate 5 around Chico and Redding, light showers around San Francisco heading across the Bay Area. We're seeing moderate rainfall into the Central Valley. Around New Mexico, clearing out in the western section of the Land of Enchantment and drier skies around Albuquerque. A little bit more rain up towards Santa Fe, and the heaviest rain in eastern and southeastern New Mexico from Roswell towards Fort Sumner, and that's pushing towards the east into Lubbock, Texas. We did see some heavy rainfall around Tucson into southern Arizona and Globe, but that's pretty much dissipating as the area of low pressure spins out of the Rockies and into the southwest. And yesterday was a different story around Southern California. A lot of rain around Los Angeles, around 5 inches at the Civic Center. Much drier around LA today. A little rain popping up around Bakersfield. We're pretty much fizzling out, moving towards the south. It's still around San Francisco where you're seeing the rainfall, light to moderate showers here. And we're seeing heavy rain still along I-5 around Chico, Red Bluff, and Redding, and moderate showers in between Sacramento and upwards towards Reno, and snow into the Sierra Nevada mountains. And we're seeing snow anywhere from 5 to 7,000 foot level, even up to 9,000 foot level later on today. And in the northwest, some heavy rain around the Portland area, just west of the Rose City, and moderate showers also east of the city towards Mount Hood. And here's the snowfall forecast through midnight, upwards to 3 to 6, even 12 inches of snow into the Sierras and the higher elevations, 3 to 6 inches of snow in the Cascades in Oregon and in Washington State, and around 3 inches of snow into the San Juan Mountains in the southwestern Colorado and into the Wasatch Range into Utah. And for the midday hours, rain along our low-pressure cell into the heartland and moving into the plains with windy conditions also here. Stay tuned, more information coming up on Weather Center in just a few minutes.
There's so much weather and so little time. That's why we love the web. Weather.com. From the Weather Channel, the weather experts. On TV, on PC.
Nobody loves cars more than I do. Each one is a work of art. So when the maker of all these chose a new antifreeze, it got my attention.
General Motors now uses the deck school technology of Haviland Extended Life Antifreeze in virtually all its new vehicles. The same patented formula you can use in your car for 5 years or 150,000 miles. So do what GM did. Switch to Haviland.
I use it in my car. I only wish this for it.
This holiday season, make espresso and cappuccino right in the microwave in less than 2 minutes with the Black & Decker Espresso Mio, the perfect gift for that special someone on your holiday list.
Well, things are just rotating around off the Pacific coast, and that is really what's driving the weather that we've seen in the Pacific Northwest on into California. Some of the heavy rain and mountain snow for the last week and a half, let's say. The ringleader, an upper level low, which isn't moving too fast in the Gulf of Alaska. And then around the periphery come these strengthening storms that gain some strength, some warm subtropical air coming up and some cold air aloft. You could tell by all the cellular clouds that are looping around the south side of a brand new low that there's a lot of cold air streaming in and interacting with some subtropical air. And our low is strengthening and headed toward Northern California and Oregon. And if you look way out here around the Aleutians, you can kind of get a peek at the next low. And actually the one that hit Southern California early yesterday is dropping its rain now in the Great Plains, and even some thunderstorms. Low pressure itself is in southeast Colorado in the front, looping out ahead of that in Texas and Oklahoma, and a foggy low in the upper Midwest with plenty of dense fog around Duluth and Marquette, Michigan. But a little bit of snow still in the mountains of Idaho and the Yellowstone country, and around Elko County in Nevada you had some pretty heavy snow at Wild Horse Reservoir today, and Stampede Pass coming in, occasionally heavy snow right around the Snoqualmie Pass of the I-90. Some rough traveling for the folks that need to make it home to Seattle over Interstate 90. But the new low is coming in off the ocean. So overnight we have gale warnings from Cape Mendocino to Point Piedras Blancas. These are marine warnings for winds 39 to 54 miles an hour, and you can figure that some of the coastal roads like 101 will have some winds like that as well as California's Route 1 getting some pretty rough going with rain, heavy rain blowing horizontally and wind. So hopefully you'll get home before that gets too bad tonight. But also the surf is up. Heavy surf from Cape Flattery to Point Arena, as interestingly enough the gale warnings are further south, but that original low we showed you in the Gulf of Alaska has been sending swells out, and they're coming down from the north down to Point Arena. So with the 20-foot or so seas that you get out to sea, you'll have some 10-foot or more higher breakers. So use utmost caution if you're down by the rocks. Some showers moving on through parts of Idaho along Interstate 84. The snow still hitting the higher elevations of Nevada and the Sierra Nevada and the Cascades, as the leading edge of this comma-shaped cloud is getting ready to come into our picture, but the rain is already on the screen in California. And in Seattle, where it's intermittent and kind of showery and squally at times, toward Portland, the Willamette Valley, and then coming in toward the Siskiyous and southern Cascades. And we see some rain and more mountain snow by the time you get up to northeast Washington and Idaho, with temperatures not really that cold, as Seattle gets a shot of sometimes heavier rain back to Tacoma, Olympia, and on down the Interstate 5 to about Portland. But still intersecting some of the higher elevations in Elko County, the snow's come down and getting ready to hit the Wasatch Front of Utah as the Bonneville Salt Flats get rain. But here is that next batch of rain headed toward Eureka. Now, you know, Arcata, California has had about a foot of rain in the last 10 days or so. San Francisco are breaking the action, turning to snow in the Sierra about the lake level in Tahoe, and you could have up to a foot there, a little more around Mount Shasta, and especially the Oregon Cascades. The other problem we have is the rain and thunderstorms moving through Oklahoma and Texas. Dallas about maybe an hour and a half off hitting your area, maybe some thunder and heavy rain. But the severe watch that we had has been canceled. Nonetheless, Grady and Stevens counties in Oklahoma have severe thunderstorm warnings for possible strong, gusty, and even damaging winds. East of this front, though, it's all spring-like weather. Temperatures even during the day 30 degrees above average in Des Moines and Minneapolis, as the records were falling like crazy. Let's take a look at some of them. Houston with 82, Roanoke 74, Omaha 72 degrees. Tell you, with the early freezes you have, the daffodils could start shooting through the ground in some of these places now that the ground is warming up. Chicago, windy, but almost 70 degrees. And right now, the temperatures are still 67 in Chi-Town and not too cool in the west, at least in the valleys. Another thing we want to talk about is Tropical Storm Nicole. That's right, as we move toward December, we still have a tropical storm, but it's finally looping out to the northeast at 21 miles an hour, 60-mile-an-hour winds. Take a look at this, though. Almost seeing what looks like an eye in the middle, so this storm has been intensifying a little bit, but eventually it will go into cooler water and become extratropical. No threat to the North American continent or Caribbean. Stay tuned for Weather Center. More coming up.
Temperatures fly to record heights across half of the nation as folks travel home after the holidays. Will the unusual warmth last through the week? Find out on Weather Center next.
Wagner lighting products offer exceptional quality. You can't miss with the lifetime warranty of halogen gold and the brighter and wider beam pattern of Bright Light. Wagner lighting products are available at a dealer near you.
Here's another breakthrough from Craftsman. It's the Clench Wrench, available only from Sears. All jobs become easier when you have the right tool. With the Craftsman Clench Wrench, the harder you pull, the tighter it grips. As you apply more pressure to the handle, the pivot...
Good evening. Welcome to Storm Watch. It's 10 till the hour. We're going to talk about some of the rain that's happening in the west and snow and even some rain in the plains. Then we're going to take a look at, believe it or not, Hurricane Nicole. That's right. We have a hurricane, the 10th of the season. We'll take a look at that. Let's start out in the west, though, with this pretty decent storm here winding up and getting ready to come into Northern California. A lot of cold air associated with this. And you could tell that by the little speckly clouds there. Those are cold air cumulus clouds right here. And that just means there's a lot of cold air at the mid-levels and the upper levels of the atmosphere, indicating a pretty decent storm. And eventually it will make it inland. Ahead of it, the front, which is right through here, you get more stratified precipitation, or especially around the warm front. You get rain, persistent rain. But once the front comes through and you get in this unstable air, this is where you get the more showery type precipitation. So ahead of our front, we are going to see heavy rainfall. And that's what we're seeing here with our warm front, right through here, overrunning precipitation. And in the mountains, we're getting dumped on. In the Sierra Nevada, winter storm warnings out, including, well, about 7,000 feet and higher, and snow levels will drop once the cold front comes through for the Sierra to about 5,000 feet or so. Blue Canyon, right now it is rain at this point, but maybe tomorrow it should be changing over to snowfall. And for the Shasta, Mount Shasta and the Siskiyous, looking at snowfall tonight, winter storm warnings out. Even for the Cascades, we're looking at a pretty decent amount of snowfall tonight. Now, this storm also doing a couple of other things. One, it's really kicking up the winds, and we're talking about maybe 50 miles per hour in some cases here along the coast. And of course, in the higher elevations, the ridge tops, we could see 80 mile per hour winds. So blizzard conditions, not out of the question here in the higher elevations in Northern California. So if you have to travel across those areas, make sure you got the chains and you have your winter survival kit. Very important. Very important. Now, the wind's also helping to kick up the waves, and we've been seeing storm after storm coming through, and the waves have been kicking up here. Heavy surf advisories here for the coastal areas. Be careful out there. So here's an overall picture of it. Some of the rain coming in even to Seattle and Portland. Looking at a little bit of light rain. Stampede Pass, snow here, 2,000 feet. The snow levels here for the northern Cascades. Believe it or not, San Francisco, we're not showing much on the way of radar echoes here, but we are picking up a little bit of light rain. Same in Sacramento tonight and Red Bluff. But again, you get higher in elevation up towards Reno. Lake Tahoe, we're going to see snowfall. We're going to see possibly winds gusting 40, 50 miles per hour around Reno also. So expect over a foot of snow. Again, winter storm warnings out. You can expect a good dumping of snow. Good news for the skiers. Now, the other storm we have to be concerned about is this one here in the plains. It's the one that brought all the rain to Arizona and to Southern California. It's bringing some pretty decent amounts of rain here to Oklahoma and Dallas. Thunderstorms rolled through Oklahoma City. Some rainfall amounts like 3/4 of an inch or so. So you could expect maybe ½ inch up to an inch of rain with some of these thunderstorms. The watches that were out earlier have been canceled, but we could see a few lightning strikes, maybe a few rumbles of thunder here with our front as it comes through. Ahead of our front, we got very strong southwesterly winds, and that's helping to pump up the temperatures. And we're talking about, in some cases, 30 degrees above the average. How about 68 today in Chicago, which broke the record? That's right, in Salisbury, Maryland, 75 breaking the record. And again, Chicago, that was a record for you. Milwaukee, 66, and breaking the record also. Now, those temperatures, still mild out there. We're still talking about 65 degrees in the Windy City, 74 in Dallas, not bad in Atlanta at 60 degrees here. Cooling down slightly, yeah, behind our front. Not too much, though. This temperature's still above the average. Now, that's looking at some of the temps and the precip around the U.S. Let's take a quick peek at Hurricane. That's right, Hurricane Nicole. Not dead yet. Hurricane Nicole, actually a minimal hurricane at 75 miles per hour. Actually spotted a little eye here. Still receiving a little bit of shear, and it is forecast to become extratropical in the next 36 to 48 hours. Hey, Weather Center's next. Don't go away.
A winter storm could bring heavy rain, snow, and gusty winds to the West Coast. A full report, plus find out what's in store for your work week next on Weather Center.
What sets some people apart, gives them the confidence to succeed on their own terms,
It's no secret, it's the Wall Street Journal. Now you can have that confidence delivered for 13 weeks at just $36.75, just 57 cents a day. That's a 25% savings off our regular rate, which makes now a great time to try this limited time offer. Call now, 800-626-8500. That's 800-626-8500 for the Wall Street Journal.
Imagine TV.
That'll ruin a good suit.